Okay, so I feel very, very privileged, and I thank Gail for coming on this morning and actually speaking for us. It's not easy, and it's really a chesed. It's mamish a chesed. So I want to thank her so much. When I went to look at her bio in Westmount, it said our Rebbetzin. And I live in Eretz Yisrael. I know Gail for a very, very long time. And I want to say, knowing the type of person she is, I could say that she's also my Rebbetzin. So our Rebbetzin, Gail Michalowwicz, I just want to tell you, is unbelievable. She is beloved by a great number of women and couples and men in the Jewish communities of Thornhill and Toronto. Her weekly discussion groups and Torah classes are held in the inviting, non-judgmental environment of her many friends' homes in Thornhill. I want to tell you that Gail works tirelessly to help and build up Jewish women in the Thornhill community. As a Rebbetzin, Gail comforts, advises, and influences women through relationships and life difficulties with an obvious love and caring. As a personal trainer, Gail helps women seek change, set great exercise goals, and succeeds in reaching them in one piece. Gail advises on other life goals, on reaching more happiness and balance, self-esteem, and family success. So after 11 years in preschool and elementary education, Gail began her important work in Jewish outreach, where she continues to inspire and educate people of all ages through classes and programs. Her advice comes from education, Torah learning, and experiences that came with rearing a family of 9 beautiful children and being a grandmother. Gail graduated from Beis Yaakov High School and Teacher Seminary in Toronto. After graduating, she met Rabbi Michalowwicz and moved to Cleveland, where they both furthered their education. Rabbi Michalowwicz studied in the Kollel and in John Carroll University, while Gail went on to study social work and psychology at Notre Dame College in Cleveland, where she graduated with honors, all the while working as a preschool teacher and dorm parent for the yeshiva. With 2 children, Gail and Yossi returned to Toronto, where Gail began teaching preschool at Eitz Chaim for 6 years and later Zarenu for 5 years. During that time, Gail completed an ECE and RT degree. After 11 wonderful years in preschool and elementary education, Gail began her important work in Jewish outreach, which I can attest to. I also want to mention that Gail donated her kidney years ago to a rabbi in Toronto as well. So we are just privileged to have such a beautiful speaker, such a beautiful person. Thank you, Gail. I'm going off now. Are you there? I hope I didn't embarrass you. Just a second. I think she got kicked off. No, she's there. Gail, we can't hear you. Okay, 1 second. She can't get Gail.
Okay. Can you speak?
Yeah, go ahead. No, we can't hear you, Gail. One second. Let me just get Gail on here. Okay, you have to unmute. Gail, unmute. You're still muted. We see you, but you're muted. If I can ask other people to please keep themselves muted, that would be great. Okay, give us a second. Okay, 1 minute. Gail? Gail, you're still muted. 1 minute. I see her face, but she's muted.
Now, am I unmuted?
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Yay! Okay. Okay. So first and foremost, I just want to thank Naomi for having me on. And I want to wish everyone a Akiva v'chasima tova and a wonderful good year. And I just want to thank you, Naomi. You're a tremendous influence on all of us. I'm like crying, so it's hard for me too. That was such a heartfelt tefillah from everyone who was davening. And I really appreciate it. It's a beautiful way for us to start Rosh Chodesh Elul. So, we sometimes in our lives, has anyone ever played this game? It's a very cute game where you say a sentence and someone has to fill it in. So here's the sentence I want to say, and here's what I want you to fill in is life is like, Now, if you know, it's hard to believe, but there's like 106 different quotes to what life is like. So I'm just going to give you a couple. So life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. Life is like a camera. Focus on what's important, capture good times. And if things don't work out, just take another shot. And when I was growing up, I remember everyone would say, life is like a bowl of cherries. So what does that really mean? Some cherries are rotten, others are good. It's your job to throw out the rotten ones and forget about them while you enjoy eating the ones that are good. There are two kinds of people: those who choose to throw out the good cherries and wallow in all the rotten ones, and those who choose to throw out all the rotten ones and savor all the good ones. Beautiful, wonderful, great quotes, but we need the quote that's really emes. We need the quote that really would define what life is like. And what does the Torah tell you? What does the Gemara tell you? It says, chatof, chatof, the world is a base hilula. What does that mean? It means grab, grab, capture, capture. That's another word for grab, because the world is like a wedding. Now that's interesting. That's what life is like. It's like a wedding, and we have to grab and grab. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions. What is the word grab and grab? What's that trying to tell us? Why is there a double language? And how would it be? Like, how would we define life as a wedding? So when we're looking at weddings, right? I just, Baruch Hashem, made one. And when we're looking at weddings, so much goes into it, okay? Like, from the physical, from the spiritual, like the dress, the food, the hair, the makeup, the chuppah, the flowers, the shoes, getting all that stuff just to the wedding hall is its own headache. The shidduch, the photographer, the videographer, getting the babysitters who's giving the brachas, the ksuba, you name it. There is so much going on. I'm just going to tell you a cute story. At my chasana, we had to have babysitters because, my daughters had just had given birth. It was crazy. People were coming with 4-week-old babies and 6-week-old babies. We definitely had to have babysitters. So the babysitting room was in the chuppah room. Not in the chuppah room, sorry, in the kala room. And I walk in and I see the babysitters there and they have the babies in the carriage. And I see my 4-year-old grandson is sitting on the couch. So I asked him, Moshe, what are you doing here? So he goes, what do you mean? I'm here with my counselors. I'm at camp. And I'm like, oh boy. Okay. I've heard a wedding be called a lot of things, but I never heard it called camp. So I was laughing to myself. I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? Color war? Because, he's looking at it. Everyone has their special colors that they're wearing. But what I'm trying to say is there just seems like so much is going on at the chasana. But what is the ikar of it? What does it mean? What does that mean? Life is like a wedding. What is a wedding? So if you had to really look at what a wedding is, you would say it boils. Hello?
I know. Well, I got into the car.
Okay, a wedding boils down to 4 words. That's really what the wedding boils down to. And this is the ikar. These are the most critical words that happen at that chasana. It's harei at mikudeshet li. Behold, you are betrothed to me. So what's the word betrothed here mean? So when we look at the word mikudeshet, you see inside of that word, right? The root word for kadosh. So behold, you are holy to me. Now, I think the word holy, we hear it all the time. The Torah, we are considered an Am Kadosh. We're considered a holy nation. You look at the Parsha of Kedoshim and it says, Kedoshim Tihiyu, you should be holy. Why? Because I am Kadosh, says Hashem. So we really need a very clear definition of that word holy. I laugh and I listen to Rabbi Efim Goldberg from Boca Raton. When he finishes his class, he says these beautiful words. He says, stay healthy, stay holy. What does he mean? What does the Torah mean when we talk about this word holy? So there's 2 sides to the definition. One means holy. You are separated from everything else. When you're holy, you're separated from the secular and you're connected to the godly. When you're holy and separated, The second understanding is that you're dedicated. So we're dedicated to the connection, to the godliness, to the holiness of who we are. And that means we're dedicated to Hashem, right? And the godly part of us. So we're separated from the physical, the secular. And not only do we just say separated, but we have a second mission, and that is this dedication to Hashem. So when you're under that chuppah, like that whole wedding, everything is leading to this reality that we are now separated and dedicated to each other. So, before you go to the mikveh, there's that beautiful tefillah, and you really ask Hashem, like, let me have eyes only for my husband and let him have eyes only for me. There is no one else in the world. We don't second guess. It's not like, oh, well, I wish I could have got so-and-so, she's a better cook. And I wish I could have got so-and-so, because look at him. He does so much. He takes the garbage out. Like, look at all these wonderful things, all these attributes that everyone else has. No, we are totally united in this dedication to each other, which is ultimately united to this dedication to Hashem. That's what being holy is. And if you look at the chasana, there's a very beautiful bracha, like one of my favorite brachas, of the Shever brachas, is Sameach Tisamach Re'im Ahuvim Kisimcha Kisamchecha Yitzircha Began Eden Mikedem Baruch Ata Hashem Isameach Chatan V'Kala. What's going on here? We're asking Hashem, give simcha and joy to this loving couple like you did to Adam and Chava in Gan Eden. What was the special reality that Adam and Chava had in Gan Eden? Was that Adam and Chava only had each other. There was no one else there. That's the kind of connection and devotion. There's no other reality. And so too, just like Nomi said, at the end of all this beautiful tefillah, Ein Od Milvado. So in our lives, every day is a wedding, and every day is an opportunity to grab that reality and to realize, like, whatever position I'm in right now, this is my wedding to Hashem. This is my opportunity for this dvekus, for this commitment, for this dedication, for this separation. So, and how do we do that? How do we show our dedication? How do we show it? How do we show our separation? We show it through the Torah and the mitzvahs that we do, right? We show it through what you just did right now. I'm so overwhelmed from such a sincere and beautiful tefillah, like really getting into it. And I literally was crying along with Naomi, but because it was so genuine and so sincere. And that's what this connection, that's what this dvekus is. Like, when you first look at the chassan and kala, like, it's so cute how they just like smile at each other. They have these, like, their eyes are only for each other. It's just such a beautiful reality. And that's what we're looking for. That's what our life is. That's what we're trying to grab. So if you look at the chasana, right, it can seem so gashmius, like there's so much of a physicality involved in it. Like I was saying before, the dresses, the makeup, the this, the that, like you can really get carried away. It's a test almost in staying sane and staying focused. But you could take that whole gashmius reality and turn it into something so spiritual. You could look at the dress and say, what kind of dress am I choosing? What kind of makeup am I choosing? What kind of hair and music and food? And what are we doing? We're choosing the hair, the music, the food that dedicates us and separates us to Hashem. We're looking at, what are we using these physical things for? What is the goal for? The goal for it is to become holy, to become connected, to become separated, to join as a unit, right? This chassan and kala are now becoming one unit that is separated and holy to Hashem. The Jewish people are married to Hashem, the greatest chasana that ever took place in the world, right? It's like one of the second greatest events after creation is Matan Torah. And Matan Torah was that incredible marriage. So sometimes, like, you're at the wedding, why do you have to grab at a wedding? Why do you have to like stay so focused at a wedding? Because it moves so fast. Every one of us who has married off any of our children, that's how we all felt, right? It was like you build up, build up, build up, and blink of an eye, the whole thing was over. So what's the Gemara trying to tell us? What's the Talmud trying to tell us? It's trying to tell us, stay focused, stay focused. Keep your eye on the ball. Remember what you're doing. Life is going fast. It's a wedding. You have this opportunity to be holy, to stay focused, to stay connected. So, in the secular world, there's something called a bridezilla, okay? Which is a bride who is so self-centered. That's it. It's her day, and it's her day at all costs. And it's interesting the way we educate our children. Like before they get married, they have something called chassan and kala classes. And the kinds of things that we teach them is unbelievable. So one of the things we say, this is your very special day. This is your day to do tshuva. This is your day to do as many good things as you can. One of the things that we tell them is they should give tzedakah. All right. Giving tzedakah is a great segula for all kinds of things. And it teaches you to go beyond yourself. So when you talk to the kala, not everyone has, tons of money to give. So we tell them it's not just about giving money. It's about giving you your time, your attention to the guests that you have at the chasana. That is the greatest tzedakah you can give, because you really validate them. Just like they're there to make you happy, you can be there to make others happy. So my daughter, unfortunately, wasn't able to come to the chasana, but her husband came with two little kids, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And my son-in-law was talking at the Shever Brachas, and he just said something so beautiful about the kala. Like he said, I was a little nervous. The mechitza was really big and thick. I wasn't necessarily able to see my little daughter. And she had a wonderful time when the chasana was over. I asked her what was the best part. And she said, the best part of the wedding was that the kala danced with me 2 times. That's a kala who's looking around, right? At the Shever Brachas, the brother of my Machatonim, the brother of my son's father-in-law, got up to speak. And this is what he said about his brother. He said, nobody saw this but me. Like everyone is busy at a chasana and there's so much tumult. He was going around and giving every waiter a $20 tip during the chasana, going over to every one of them and saying, thank you so much. And you helped make this chasana so beautiful. Like, this is a wedding that has holiness in it. This is an understanding, here are people taking an opportunity at a wedding to really understand what life is, what our lives are. And I just thought it was so beautiful. So there's a famous story with Rabbi Akiva and his daughter. When his daughter was born and she was a young girl, there was a stargazer who came by. And this stargazer came to Rabbi Akiva. He said, I want you to know on the day of your daughter's chasana, she's going to die. And, in those days, you wouldn't machavek, you wouldn't just, pretend that the stargazer had said nothing. There was something, it shook him. It really shook Rabbi Akiva. But as the years passed and the wedding came, it was a very busy day again, very fatumult, very this. And we have to appreciate, like everyone there is cooking the whole chasana, right? And not everyone had a lot of abundance the way we have today. You go to a chasana and half the meal is thrown out. It's not like that. It was very, very portioned. Okay, so everybody's tumbling, and this poor man knocks at the door, right? Nobody even notices, but who notices? Rabbi Akiva's daughter on the day of her chasana. She opens the door and he says, I'm so hungry, please. And she said, not to worry, not to worry. And she knew that the portions were exactly counted out. She took her own portion and she gave it to him. As she was getting ready for the wedding, she's like putting on her veil and she has a pin in her hair and it's not cooperating. It's not working well. So she takes the pin out and she sticks it into the wall. That's, I guess, where they put their pins. There was a crack in the wall. She sticks it into the wall. Okay. Next morning, she's behind the wall and she sees a poisonous snake is trapped on the wall with that pin. And she starts screaming and everybody comes running. And she says, look what happened. Look, my life was saved. Look, look. And then Rabbi Akiva remembered about the stargazer. And what did he see? What did he say? In the schus of that tzedakah that you gave, in the merit of having that focus, of realizing who you are under all circumstances, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly, that we are here dedicated and connected to Hashem, your life was saved, right? Tzedakah tatzil mimaves. So I want to give you another interpretation about a wedding. A wedding is a phenomenal opportunity. It's beautiful. We're all so happy. We're so sameach. But there's two people at the chasana that I feel maybe aren't 100% sameach. There's a little bit of a bittersweet reality, and that's the parents. I think like after the chasana, you just want to turn around and tell the chasan kala, okay, this was fun. This was nice. You had a good play date. Now you go home and you come back to me. So there's like a bittersweet reality. Like if I had to look at life, I would call it bittersweet. And why bittersweet? Bittersweet is the richest of all chocolate. It's the truth. It's the best of all chocolate. Times like a chasana are times of transition. And I think when we're in those times of transition, those are the times that we really want to grab and grab. And what is it that we really want to grab and grab? We want to grab that devekus to Hashem. That is our mission in life. When you say those hare at mikudeshet li, that's what we're saying. The Torah tells you we have to be dovek bo, we have to cleave to Hashem. And I think it's in these really happy times, like the incredible, beautiful wedding. But even in that incredible, beautiful wedding, there's something a little bittersweet. And that's that change, that transition, that moving on in all directions. For some people, they're moving forward, and some people feel like they're moving backward. But you have to stop and you have to say, no. Hashem is with me. He gave me this transitional time, and it's my turn to move forward and to realize that life is a wedding. It's full of opportunity. Hashem is here with me, and I'm holding on tight. So Hashem has given us an incredible gift right now. It's called the month of Elul. And he's like, we're almost renewing our vows, so to speak. Hashem is saying, Ani lidodi v'dodi li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. You trust in me, and I'll trust in you. We'll stay connected. We'll move forward. And that's our time to sort of say to Hashem, maybe last year there were times at the wedding, we got a little caught up. We forgot to be separate. We forgot to be dedicated. But every day is a wedding day, and every day you're allowing us to be with you, to be mikudeshet to you. And that's the bracha I give to all of us, that we are able to stay focused, see the beauty in our lives, recognize all the opportunities, and grab them and grab them. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. That was gorgeous, Gail. Thank you so much. That was really beautiful. I love the analogies. It was so beautiful.
Thank you.
Really. You know, I just want to come over on the video and just give you a big hug.
Thank you
me
so much. A big hug to everybody.
That's what I feel. Me too. Big hugs to everybody. Really. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you. Really, thank you. That was so beautiful. Such a beautiful analogy. It's so true that, like, you know, the differences and the subtle differences of all the different things we go through in that wedding and in that process and the process of life, right?
Right. So it's keeping your eye on the ball. I did one, I forgot one little story.
Tell us.
Yeah, just fun little story. It's very small, but it's just important because it just shows you, like, also with a wedding, there's like a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong. You know, people at weddings, like, we're always looking for a lot of control. It's really hard. You put in a lot, right? And this is our lives. Like, we've put in a lot of hishtadlus, so to speak. And sometimes that hishtadlus doesn't come out the way you want it. And this was a very, it really hit me, this story, to be very careful. So I was listening to Rabbi Chaim Rosenfeld, and he said he was once at a chasana, and he was standing like near the, you know, when there's the chuppah, some people are standing closer to the door. He was standing closer to the door where the chassan and where the parents were taking down the kala. And, you know, the father's holding her on one side and the mother's holding her on the other side. And the mother is about to start the march, and she looks up and she's looking at the chuppah. And this is what she said. She went, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I told them red and they picked pink roses for the chuppah." And he just it just hit him right in the heart. Like, here is this incredible moment. And we can so easily, you know what I mean, become frustrated and angry. And, you know, I wanted it this way. And my perfect isn't perfect. You know what I mean? And this is why I think like we need to really understand that the bottom line of that chasana is Harei at mikudeshet li. I am dedicated and separate to you, Hashem. And sometimes it may not look like it's going the way I want it to be going, but I am dedicated to this relationship. And if we find ourselves dedicated to our relationship to Hashem, you will see that our relationships will be better all the way around. We'll be more dedicated to ourselves, to the people around us, because it'll be from the soul, from the neshama, from, you know, so I just wanted to add that in.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. It's so true. It's so absolutely true.
Yeah.
The essence of what it's all about.
Right.
You know, and the older you get, the more you realize it even more.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Gail, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to take us off of, just 1 second, just going to take us off of live stream.